A storm hit San Diego, bringing thunder, lightning, rain, and flooding. The issues it caused at the Petco Park vaccination site on its first day open since last week.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine leads to disagreement within the Catholic Church, why some claim that new vaccine should be avoided.
Lost in the mountains for a month, a North County dog is safely back with her family tonight. In a story that's positively San Diego, we look at the skills that a local woman employed to track and recover the dog.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
Thunder across the area as a storm hit San Diego County, bringing heavy rain, wind, and hail. As the storm moved through, roads flooded from Mission Valley to the Pacific Highway in Little Italy. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. That storm also forced the recently reopened vaccination superstation at Petco Park to briefly close again. Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner shows us the huge backup that resulted.
For about an hour today, the site had to close because of nearby lightning, creating a lot of serious problems, including traffic delays. Look at this long line of cars behind me waiting to get in. A spokesperson for the site said they had to pause operations at noon due to safety concerns with that lightning and said it would reopen as soon as authorities deemed it safe again. And that came at about 1 p.m. But the traffic was severely impacted, causing a lot of backup. The site just reopened today after having been closed since Saturday due to a shortage of vaccines, a second weekend in a row that it had to close because of a lack of supply. It also closed back in January because of strong winds from a winter storm. Just a few hours ago, we talked to two people stuck in their car in line today. They were here to drop off their grandmother to get her second dose of the Moderna shot.
We got here about 9 a.m. and we've been waiting for like more than 3 hours. And yes, it has been very frustrating. We've been trying to get out of the car, get a view of how many cars are ahead. And then I walked out and walked a little bit in front, and there was like a bunch of cars down the block. So we don't know how long it's going to take.
A spokesperson for the site said that about 6,000 people were supposed to be vaccinated here today. They plan to keep the site open as late as they need to accommodate all of those appointments. Reporting from Petco Park, Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
Could be a long night. We are joined now by our weather anchor, Melissa Messiha, tracking how much rain we've seen so far today. Mel.
And Steve, some areas already seeing close to an inch of rain, and we're not done just yet. Here's a look at our 10 News Pinpoint Doppler live. So it's hit and miss depending on where you are in the county. If I zoom on into the North County Oceanside, you're getting a bit of a break. But across the 15 between Escondido and Valley Center, we're seeing rain there. Also Encinitas and Solana Beach. Poway, you're dry for now. Over in the south part of the county, along the coast, Imperial Beach, for the most part, you're dry. Coronado, not seeing any rain. But along the 125 in the South Bay, we are seeing the rain falling through there, even some heavier cells. Del Zorro also seeing some showers currently. As far as how much more we're going to get, we're not quite done just yet, although it looks like over the next few hours, the North County is going to get a break. For the most part, you are drying out. And then into those overnight hours, the rain is quickly going to move out of here. We are still dealing, of course, with pretty cool conditions, cloudy right now. As we take a live look over Poway, you're at 50 degrees. But if you didn't like the cold weather today, don't worry. There are some changes in store, including those sunny conditions. I'll talk more about that coming up in my full weather forecast.
All right, Mel, thank you. You can stay on top of the weather anytime with the ABC 10 News app. You can find it for free in the App Store.
And turning now to coronavirus, the county's 14-day rolling average for positive cases now looks like it did before the Thanksgiving surge. It's sitting at just about 3.5%. The county reported about 350 new cases today, and it also reported 25 more people have died. County leaders say they've been in talks with the state to possibly move into the red tiers sooner than expected. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says that the tier system came out when vaccines didn't exist. And now the state could alter the case rate required to move forward, taking the county's vaccination rate into account. But county leaders continue to express frustration about not having enough vaccines.
It is consistently erratic and consistently unpredictable. And, we again, when it arrives, we get it in circulation right away, and we utilize it as fast as we possibly can. But we still don't have great clarity on what will be coming more than a day or two in advance.
The county says they're getting close to administering their 1 millionth vaccine.
The San Diego Catholic Diocese weighed in today after the U.S. Conference of Bishops urged people to seek alternatives to the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. Our ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen looks at the debate over a vaccine some call morally compromised.
Is the latest weapon against COVID-19 morally concerning? The answer is yes, according to a statement from the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, which urged Catholics to avoid, if possible, taking the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it was developed with the help of abortion-derived stem cell lines. Physician and bioethics instructor Charles Binkley.
The argument would go is that by getting this vaccine, you would be tacitly showing your support. An evil means doesn't justify a good end.
That position is not backed by the San Diego Diocese and Bishop Robert McElroy, who is a member of the Conference of Bishops. In a statement, he said, with limited vaccine options available to achieve healing for our nation and our world, it is entirely morally legitimate to receive any of the vaccines. Echoing a statement from Pope Francis last year, Bishop McElroy called receiving a vaccine truly showing love for our neighbor and our God.
What Bishop McElroy is saying, most important thing is an act of charity and an act of love for your neighbor. The good that it brings about far exceeds the evil that may have been associated with it remotely.
While Pfizer and Moderna use those clone cells during lab testing, Johnson & Johnson's vaccine uses the cells in its manufacturing process. The Archdiocese of New Orleans deemed the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines morally acceptable, but called Johnson & Johnson's morally compromised. But Pope Francis has called the moral link between abortion and similar vaccines a remote one.
And not just remotely in terms of time, but remotely in terms of intention. So no one went out and aborted a fetus in order to develop this vaccine. This is a cell line that's been used for decades.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
The statement from the Conference of Bishops came from a committee. The local diocese says that Bishop McElroy did not vote on it. We know there are a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. Our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. So just send us an email to tips@10news.com.
As students head back to the classroom, schools may have to deal with a different kind of outbreak, the common cold. 2 studies from around the world found that rhinovirus, which causes the common cold, spiked when children went back to class. Here at home, several districts have rules in place. In Poway, any child showing COVID-like symptoms must stay home for 10 days or get a negative test before returning to campus. They haven't seen any outbreaks so far.
The process is working, and our children are in school, and I think people want to stay healthy. They want to keep schools open. And so I think for the most part, people are following those guidelines.
Doctors say the key to keeping children safe when headed back to school boils down to 3 things: wearing a mask, washing your hands, and waiting to gather in groups.
The House of Representatives will not meet tomorrow following information about a potential security threat at the Capitol. Capitol Police said today that they had learned of a possible plot to breach the Capitol by a militia group. There will be more officers stationed at Capitol Hill tomorrow. As a result, the debunked QAnon conspiracy had called March 4th the true inauguration day of former President Trump. It's the same day all presidents were inaugurated on until the 1930s.
Border Patrol says the 13 people killed in a crash in Imperial County yesterday were among more than 40 people being smuggled across the border. The agency says surveillance video shows them coming through a hole in the border fence and loading into 2 SUVs. One caught fire, and Border Patrol says everyone inside was later found hiding in bushes. The other SUV collided with a big rig, leading to the deaths. And today, San Diegans mourned the victims. People placed candles and crosses at a growing memorial in Chicano Park.
That we need humane immigration policies. That way you don't have these people crowded into a car, getting killed in this horrific accident, women and children. It's very sad. These were human beings looking for a better life, risking it all, and tragically dying.
The NTSB and ICE agents from San Diego are investigating the crash. The Mexican consulate has confirmed 10 of the victims were Mexican nationals.
County leaders signed off today on spending more than $6 million to clean up and restore the El Monte River Valley near Lakeside. That money will help preserve nearly 100 acres of land as open space. The county says the land is yet another step towards finishing the San Diego River Park project. That's a proposed 52-mile trail system that runs from the coast to the mountains. Neighbors in Lakeside say they'd like to see the county remove invasive plants in the valley and put in a dog park.